The biggest leak in Super Smash Bros. History might have just happened, and we're gonna take it on, so buckle up and let's do this! Block content. What's happening, my Block buddies, and welcome to a new episode of Blocked Content's Leak Speak. And today, we're actually doing some Sherlock Holmes because we're gonna investigate this awesome, gigantic, very crowd-pleasing leak. My name is Callum Stamp, and this is gonna be your content for today. We're talking about a very big, gigantic leak that just came out. It's a leak that originates all the way from France. Some guy leaked something very, very huge. I'm going to talk about it, so here's your spoiler warning for today. If you don't want any potential spoilers for the game, for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you have to click away now. Go watch some Snake Codex, go watch some Cranky Kong's Advice or a new Wario Prank Calls episode, but this would not be for you. If you're still here and you want to hear it, well, let's do this. Today's comment question is this leak real? So put it down in the comments and maybe you will be featured on the channel and there's a giveaway at the end of this video. So let's get right into this. I'm gonna just show you guys the picture, okay? Here it is. It originates from a Snapchat. It was actually discovered by a Discord channel that discusses Smash Brothers leaks, and this is just insane. So the picture has the emoji GIF sticker on it that says LOL with a crying emoji on it and a crying laughing. And this basically looks like it's some guy's job to make these cardboard prints, these cardboard cutouts of various different graphics for purposes of either conventions or maybe a stand somewhere, or maybe Nintendo in their own offices. Maybe it's connected to Bandai Namco, but man, what you can see at the bottom of this picture alone, that is the Everyone is Here art, the art that we all know that was at the end of the very first announcement of Smash Bros. Ultimate after the teaser, which showed every single character. However, this has now been filled up with presumably the final roster, maybe excluding DLC or something like that, but the final full roster might have just been leaked. I'm gonna go over every minute single detail in this thing, so be prepared for things to get really weird, but there is a lot of evidence for this to be real and impossible to be faked, so strap in, it's going to be crazy. So very first, we see that the measurements are on this thing. We can see that there are other graphical elements like maybe like the Grinch that you see in the right bottom corner. This is just maybe some sort of package where also Bandai Namco has provided them with the art for Everyone is Here, but the full roster of Everyone is Here. You can also see the circular stand, so this thing might wrap around. This might wrap around a column. This might wrap around some sort of cube-like maybe pillar in a convention. So you could definitely see this as this is a company that prints these things that is in France. We can see that from the text. We're actually translating the text as well later in the video, and it all seems super legit. You can also see and we call it Battlefield, it's the final destination, the Omega version of the Battlefield stage in Smash Bros. Ultimate, but there's no characters on there. So this could be maybe some sort of background for people to take a picture on. This could maybe be some sort of work in progress that they have, and it has points for the folding to happen, and it has basically 3 big segments. Now, first off, this has not been shown before. The artwork, even on the website, you could data mine it all you want, but you can never remove the characters from that artwork to just show the Battlefield Omega stage. It's impossible. So this is showing that there has either someone has done some crazy work and removed all the characters and repainted the entire Battlefield stage and the clouds and everything, every little detail, or this is real. And that's so crazy because what I'm about to tell you guys about the characters that are on that bottom, that's gonna drive people crazy up until launch. So Sakurai is making some dreams come true, because if we move on to the next image, we can actually have a closer look at this. Well, there are a lot of characters that jump out immediately, and there's a lot of places that have been switched too, because they have to make new place for these new characters to appear in or have them closer together. And in a lot of cases, these are like simple changes, but there are also characters who are now grouped together that make a lot more sense to be together. So that could also be an indication that this is real, just simply because things like the Mii fighters are now totally together again, which is crazy awesome and was supposed to be that way. So if we look at what fighters they have found, the new fighters, the final newcomers in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that includes Echo fighters, I'll go from left to right saying this is Shadow from the Sonic franchise, and has been rumored to be a character in this game. And, well, he's here at the top, making this big leap, very cool, which is actually very close to another Echo fighter that I'm discussing. But the second character, which is an original new character for Smash Brothers, and it's returning from its appearance in the Nintendo 64 games Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. It is Banjo-Kazooie, which is totally crazy. I can see his design is actually the same as it's been in the Nintendo 64 games, which have, later gone on to the Xbox marketplace. But man, this is insane. The old look for Banjo is back, with Kazooie flying, doing some sort of dash in the air, and it looks, I mean, if we get a game that has Mario, Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man, Banjo-Kazooie, I mean, Sakurai has made dreams come true, like dreams that no one could even see as a reality. Like, getting the rights to have Banjo-Kazooie in this game is entirely impossible up until this point, right? The next character that we see is Isaac from Golden Sun, and that's also pretty amazing. I mean, Isaac appeared in Smash Bros. Brawl as an assist trophy, and we always thought, oh well, that's the most he's gonna get because he wasn't actually in Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. So we were like, well, maybe they couldn't get the rights anymore, but maybe they were just waiting for the opportunity to have him in this game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And there have been a lot of hints to Golden Sun in the, the updates that Sakurai has thrown out before, in certain pictures that people could find. And this seems very, very likely. He was near the top of our list as well, so it seems very possible that Isaac has finally made the cut right here. So that is flipping my mind right now. And the next one that we see is Ken making an awesome uppercut, up in the air. And of course, we've discussed this one as being probably the most probable Echo fighter of all, just looking at the box art leak that we had before. So having Ken in there, it makes complete sense. Seeing him in this artwork also hammers the point that, yeah, he kind of deserves to be in Smash, right? Because he's the second rep that you would get from Street Fighter. I mean, Chun-Li would have been awesome too, but that would have been a completely new moveset, and, she would still be a really awesome character, but I think Ken and Ryu are kind of that duo that's like a Mario and Luigi, Sonic and Shadow, Richter and Simon. This makes sense to me. Now, the next fighter is something that surprised me, but not that much that I thought it was an improbability, and that is Mac Rider. Now, Mac Rider is a character from Nintendo's past, a game on the NES system, and as some of you guys on here on Blocked Content know, we actually very recently, 2 days ago, made a video about a potential moveset for Balloon Fighter, which, Balloon Fight was also an NES game. We've been rumoring what the new character, the new retro character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate would be, because, we have them all the way from Ness and Captain Falcon to Game & Watch and Ice Climbers. We've had them up until Duck Hunt and Rob and all those kinds of characters, and now we seem to have another one in the form of Mac Rider, who rides an awesome bike. We don't really know if this character is male or female, so I'm just going to point at it for being male right now, because I think that's what he was referenced at in the trophy art for Smash Bros. Melee. But ever since that Melee, he had a theme as well. Mac Rider theme was in that game on F-Zero stages, and having a character, with a bike that could potentially just be on that bike for the running animation and jumping and all that would be crazy awesome, and I think that would definitely be a very cool new retro character. And also the fact that this character would not only be the retro rep, but could also have a costume that looks like the Excite Biker, which would be awesome as well, because people have been requesting Excite Bike. But there's also some proof that Sakurai has been looking to get Mech Rider in the game, and we're going to talk about that very soon in this same video too. And the other characters that are in this are some fan favorites, because up there in the sky, you can see, I think it's next to Pac-Man, you can see that there is Geno in this art. Now, Papagenos, you're probably going to be very happy to see this, and us as well, because our block content fans are crazy about Geno being in the game. Me as well, because Super Mario RPG was like a totally surreal game, which was like this very open designed game that just had these weird quirky characters that just worked in a way that Mario games never really had this big of a epic massive story, and Geno was such a big part of that story coming to life. So I think having Geno in this game, we've talked about this in one of our previous videos, the fact that my Geno be in this game. I'm actually a guest on a podcast this weekend to talk about Geno too, so I'll share that on YouTube as well. But having Geno here, it makes complete sense. People have been rumoring him, but he's also been a Mii Fighter costume, so for me it was a shoe-in. Seeing him here is no big surprise, and I definitely think that this is going to happen. So the last fighters that we see in this leak are the Chorus Kids, and there's a little bit more than meets the eye to the Chorus Kids. We can definitely see that these are 2D renders and definitely not like a 3D representation of the Chorus Kids. This could definitely change seeing their model in game, but I definitely think that these are like Game & Watch kind of flat type characters. It seems to be 3 of them with an additional character, so we'll get back to this, but having a Rhythm Heaven fighter in the game makes sense. It's a big Nintendo property. It could have lots of fun possibilities for moves, and having music be a part of the moveset and rhythm. So I think that this is crazy amazing. So all in all, these are the characters that we're going to be discussing in this leak, trying to Sherlock Holmes find out if this is real. So I hope you guys are ready for the ride. All right, so the next picture is someone on 4chan, where this leak actually was found. They've actually been finding if all the characters are represented in this artwork. And yes, every single character has been represented. So if this was a fake leak and somebody drew this and accidentally left someone out, that is not the case. Everybody is represented here. It's a lot of fighters. I mean, this is going into the 70s. It's insane to see that Sakurai might have pulled this off. It's totally insane. So the Mario franchise now has 2 newcomers. It's the Echo Fighter in Daisy, and it's of course Geno. We have another Sonic fighter, which is Shadow, which is totally crazy cool. And having just Ken be there as an Echo, having even a character like Mech Rider, which in hindsight makes total sense. I mean, that's just crazy amazing. We've actually put all the artwork changes below each other right here, and there's something really interesting that I want to point out here. So the above art is the very first time that we see this art, right? So it's all the characters that have ever been in Smash in one art, which is amazing in its own right. I mean that announcement of everybody is here that made the internet explode. But of course, there are some changes that went through when adding new characters. Some places have to be shifted around to make place for new ones. So that happened when characters like King K. Rool and Simon were announced for the game. Even when Isabelle later joined the fray, she was added in there and had a little tiny spot, so things had to be slightly shifted around. But you can see characters like the Mii Fighters who are kind of closed off from one another, which doesn't really make all that much sense. You can see that there are some empty spots left open that are like, hey, when are these going to get filled? But it's also the idea that, well, probably there's not that many more characters coming. This artwork already seems very full, and having 20 or even 10 characters join this roster is going to be insane to fit into that same picture. So at the bottom, we can see this supposedly leaked image of that, French company that does these cardboard box. I will talk about this a lot more later, so just get ready. But having them all together like this, seemingly no holes in the artwork aside from like next to Shadow or Donkey Kong, that's amazing. And this art really looks like, oh wow, this is the biggest crossover in the history of video games of all time. And it makes me just excited to see this art. I really want to see the full version of this art with, you know, the full HD quality. I actually played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate about 2 weeks ago at a convention. It was awesome, but they had that artwork, and it was the E3 artwork. So I think Simon, Isabel, and stuff weren't on that artwork yet, but just seeing how big and detailed that thing is in person, it was gigantic. It was like 2-3 meters tall, and it was so wide, and it wrapped around the entire stand. Just having this final version of that with Gino in it, with characters like the Chorus Kids and with Mac Ryder, I mean, that would just be insane to see on the website. So I'm really curious, if this is real and the possibility is high, how Sakurai would announce this. I mean, would he do it in a way where we get snippets of these characters? Would there be one more Smash Direct where Sakurai just announces all of it? Because, hey, I'm just going to say it, I don't think in October we're getting another Smash Brothers Direct or announcement. I think October is finishing up, and we're going to have this, you know, stream of quality be in November. That's going to be the final promotional month for Nintendo to get people interested in this game. October is over. I don't think there's anything happening in this month anymore. And November is the last opportunity because the game hits on December 7th. And just having like a December 3rd or December, you know, that was the original Brawl supposed release date. I don't think anything of, you know, gigantic value will happen there. It'll just be pushing the new character trailers that happened in November. So what I hope is in November, around every week we get an announcement of one of these characters, right? That would make the most sense to me. And the big ones being, of course, Gino, Banjo-Kazooie, save it for the final reveal, please, and characters like Mac Ryder. So I think that will happen in November. October, we're going to have to sit out a bit, but at least we have a little bit more to chew on now that this leak has happened. And if it's not real, which I don't think so, because of all the evidence that we're going to talk about, if this is not real, then I do think that it's been a wild ride. You know, at least this leak looks very real, and having someone actually shift these characters around and overlap each other, it doesn't really make sense to put all that much effort into it. And having all these new characters that look like they belong there, I mean, it's my absolute sincere congratulations to the person that made this, if it is fake, because this is really great job. We're going to take a look at some more comments that were made on there to kind of see if we can get some more information that other people have found. So here's an anonymous user saying, Shadow on the far left up between the links, Banjo-Kazooie is on the left, the Chorus Kids between Villager and Pokemon Trainer, Ken doing an uppercut next to Samus, Isaac between Lucario and Little Mac, Mac Ryder to the right of Inkling. So this is when the image was very first discovered, and people were still seeing, is Gardevoir in there, is, you know, Cosmos in there, are different characters that we want in there, and this guy was like, hey, these are the characters in there. So he says, for what it's worth, there's a few differences between the banner on the site and this banner. Jigglypuff has moved from next to Ivysaur to next to Ness, for instance. That's right, there are a lot of instances where characters have completely moved around, so that's crazy. We're going to talk about the Mii Fighters because those are big in terms of changing their position. So this anonymous user says, the Mii Fighters, they're actually all together now, which is much better than the actual current artwork. So you can see here in the picture that yes, they have been grouped together, which totally makes sense because the Mii Fighters are in one slot. You can actually pick them and then choose what your moveset is or what your Mii associated is. So I think that there's a lot that we have to learn about Mii Fighters in terms of how can you customize their moves now, and is it as fleshed out as it was in Smash Bros. 3DS and Wii U, or is it a little less, or maybe is it even more and there's a lot more costumes and maybe some more moves. But seeing them grouped together, I mean, it was weird that they weren't, like, they were treated as simple, you know, standalone characters, which you can fool me all you want, but they are the Mii Fighters and they belong together. They are, they do have their own unique movesets, but I feel that they definitely need to be together in one slot because they just deserve to be together. So that was very interesting to me to kind of see, oh yeah, they have been grouped together, and that is exactly what someone like Sakurai would have done. You know, group these characters together because they belong together. Now, the next comment that we're going to look at is going to talk about Isaac. Isaac from Golden Sun has been found in this artwork looking like his very, very confident self, actually has the same color outfit as he does in the original Golden Sun. So this is looking very real, saying Isaac, and someone quotes this saying, "a little earth djinn by his feet." And of course the djinns were the cute pets that would grant these special powers and these awesome final finishing move attacks that were very cute. You could raise them, you could find all types of different ones. It makes sense for Isaac to use a couple of these little guys. And actually, the Earth Djinn has been found by his feet. He's saying that's freaking cute. And that would be something that Sakurai would definitely do, I feel, to flesh out Isaac more than not just being a sword fighter, the millionth sword fighter in the roster, but just saying, this guy uses magic, this guy uses his sword, but also a lot of cool powers. And he has the djinns, which are like, almost like his Pikmin of some sort. They are a part of his moveset, apparently, and they look like they definitely belong there. So it's very cute to see and to have the Golden Sun lore kind of thrown onto Smash Brothers. I imagine that there is maybe a Golden Sun stage. There, of course, should be Golden Sun music, which... Oh, man, I just can't wait to hear it. And I just can't wait to see more representation of Golden Sun, because it's been a while, but all the same... This is a franchise that deserves to be in Smash Brothers because it's a piece of Nintendo legacy, and that's what Smash Brothers is about. It's a museum of Smash Brothers, of Nintendo, and I think for Smash Brothers Ultimate, it should be the ultimate. Everybody is here, and not having Isaac would be weird. At least have him as an assist trophy. That'd probably make people a little bit angry. Having him as a fighter, there's so much you can do with Isaac, so I'm totally in, and that Earth Djinn by his feet hammers the point home that, yeah, this is Isaac, this is his representation in Ultimate, let's do this. So another point that I wanted to point out is that in this picture you can see that the Final Destination version of the Battlefield stage actually looks really, really real. I mean, they have a version of this without the characters on it, and this is one of the parts of the leak that I think, well, this has to be real. Why would someone go through all the trouble to not only just add and shift characters in the Everybody Is Here artwork, but also kind of just draw the entire thing from scratch and put that on the poster as well? No one would have thought to do that, right? It would just be incidental that someone photographed it that was on there as well. I think that this is one of the big reasons that this is real. If I look at the artwork, there's so much detail that you could have never figured out on your own. The circular pattern on there. I mean, you could have looked at the in-game version of that, but this is still a painted version, and it still has to have that same painted look. And it's very hard. It's easy to make a 3D model and make a picture of that on a bad television, but it's very difficult to kind of repaint the same style. A lot of people have tried to add characters to that Everybody Is Here artwork, characters like Geno, characters like Shadow, but not have really looked all that convincing. But then doing the entire background artwork without the characters on it, I mean, it does make sense that if you want to put characters on there, you would have to redraw the background to shift characters around. That makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me is going through all that effort instead of repainting tiny bits where you remove characters or shift them around. So, as far as the legitimacy of this leak, I believe that it's real just based on the fact that they went through all the trouble to have this. No leaker, no fake leaker, no graphic design artist would go through all the trouble to do this. And there's so much creative freedom that you have to take too, like extending the clouds and where does the sun come from, and are there planets in the background or these little islands, and what is the creative freedom that you take with that, or what do you take from different pictures from the actual gameplay? So I think that this is real just based on the fact that this artwork is here. And now we look at a character like Shadow. A lot of people have seen different pieces of artwork from Shadow on Google Images or something like that look very close to the pose that he strikes here. I've done a little bit of research on this, and I've not found this particular pose. Shadow has tilted his head like this, but having a jump like this, that is not at all what I've seen anywhere. So as far as that goes, it's still real to me. I also see that Shadow is extremely close to Sonic, and of course Simon, which is funny too. But they are in the same vicinity of each other, which makes sense to me. I don't think you should have put Shadow on a totally polar opposite, different side of Sonic. I think it makes sense to have them together and to have Shadow look angry. I mean, this picture is very blurry, but I can definitely see that Shadow is a lot more aggressive, slower version of Sonic, that his punches hit harder, and maybe he's a lot better in the air than Sonic right now is, because his moves just pack more punch. He's maybe not that combo viable, but he's just, he's kind of like a little Mac in that sense. Like, he's very speedy still, because Shadow is a fast character, but he's also powerful. So he could, potentially be a big match for Little Mac in that sense. An Echo fighter or an original fighter, looking at someone like Isabelle, who got into Smash Brothers, and she's not a direct copy Echo of Villager. Actually, she looks like completely her own character with completely her own moves. Even, her stature is completely different than Villager. I would believe that Shadow is a little bit more than just an Echo fighter. I would even say that he's a little bit more than just a Dr. Mario kind of clone. I would say that Shadow is the type of character that's actually more close to someone like Wolf. Yeah, he shares the same couple of special moves, but the way that he uses those special moves is different. I also think that it's a no-brainer that Shadow uses the teleport with the Chaos Control. Maybe his standard B move is not a homing attack, which he did use in Adventure 2 Battle, but maybe his B attack is something like a Chaos Spear that he throws forward or makes clash with the ground. So to me, Shadow is a shoo-in, and seeing him in this artwork, yeah, he's home. He's finally home. Now, a lot of people have said, hey, is that Cosmos in the air? Is that some kind of Silver Surfer type character? But this kind of proves, yeah, Luigi leaves a trail using his rocket move. And then, of course, we also have Rob doing essentially the same kind of move. And the clouds in the background kind of mesh together to show some sort of figure. But people are quick to point out that that is not Cosmos or any type of other character. That is just the clouds, Luigi, and Rob doing those moves. So I'm sorry to disappoint some people, but definitely that is Rob in the artwork and not some character that, has a face in the clouds. And something other that makes this leak look so real is that this side of the battlefield stage has not been shown in any kind of artwork yet. I mean, it's always kind of cut off with Game & Watch and Dr. Mario there. I believe they were on the opposite side as well in earlier artwork. But the artwork has never gone as far left as this one does. So that's also a thing where I'm like, well, if you're gonna fake this art, you're not gonna extend the mountains in the background and the water in the background, the shadows on the ground itself. So I don't think that would be the thing that a leaker, like a fake leaker, would do, or a graphical artist. I think that this is real because, there are so many elements to this leak to just point to, hey, this just has to be something that has definitely been leaked without Nintendo wanting it to be. There's been evidence that Nintendo has actually taken down a Reddit thread, which is, a big red flag. There was actually a Reddit thread that this image also was posted on, and within 5 minutes of that thread being created, that was taken down, which is crazy. I mean, that would just be a panic button that Nintendo is using. Of course, it's a lot harder to get a 4chan thread to begin, and if a 4chan thread would have been taken down, then we know for sure that this leak is real. I really, I love Nintendo as a company. I love, signing NDAs and being quiet about certain things, but this just being a leak means that we have to talk about it. And I totally love the characters that are on display here. It could definitely be fake still, but just seeing all this evidence makes me think, there's no way that this could be fake. Now also, there's a lot of information about the person that has leaked this that has come out. So I'm sorry that I have to talk about this. There is a big possibility that this part of it is fake, simply because they want to just throw an imaginary person under the bus as opposed to a real person. But this is all public record. This is all over the internet now, so I'm going to talk about this guy. Don't want to throw you under the bus with this video at all. Just want to discuss this with the images that are available. So a user says the Snapchat message that goes along with the leak picture that we saw is Nick Nintendo MDRR. So that's like a free translation saying something like screw Nintendo or fudge Nintendo or whatever, and then laughing my behind off, something like that. So it's sort of like slangy saying I'm making this picture just to screw with you guys, which I think is in bad taste. I think it would be more believable if the leak would say something like, just doing my job today, hey, some Nintendo stuff has come along, but this person is actively angry at Nintendo, or at least wants to stir some trouble, and I don't really have that much respect for that, actually. I would much rather have someone be unknowingly leaking something. I think it's like the ESRB leak from Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, where it was just someone's job to look at parts of the game that would, require extra review for the age restriction of the game. But this is malicious, and I don't really naturally like those things. Just because we're all in this community, we all love the game, we will all play it when it's released, and no one should do things that are in bad taste or evil against the company that is making the games that we're all playing. So this part of the leak makes me a little bit sad, probably a lot of you guys out there too. So I really hope that the person that has leaked this kind of made a fake Snapchat kind of filter on there and the fake message. I don't think so, but I hope so, just for the fact that we don't really want to put someone under the bus. But if you are being mean against Nintendo, hey, maybe you deserve to get your job taken from you, because you have to be respectful for your employer, and don't get thrown under the bus. So with that out of the way, there was actually a name attached to it, which he tried to white out, but he didn't. So if you are a graphic designer, hey, just use that use the pen tool a little bit more, or smudge it up a little bit, because it very clearly states a name, and that name is Eric Bricard. And Eric is responsible for a lot of different things within that company. He's a designer, and he lives in France, and he's a part of that company, the Atelier Marina. We've done a little bit of digging here to see if this person is actually from that company, and yeah, for sure, we can actually see that Eric has a LinkedIn profile. This LinkedIn profile has now actually been shut down. You cannot view it. Maybe it's been up now that this video is online, I don't know, but at this moment, that LinkedIn page is down. Now, there are also some people saying that this LinkedIn page has been made about a week ago. I don't know if that's true. If that is true, that's certainly a little bit suspicious, because someone could be going through all the trouble of making a fake account, making a fake person, then making a fake leak, and to, corroborate it with the evidence that they made a week ago. So that would be very smart, kind of a mastermind technique. I don't think that that's the case. Just simply because this is all back traceable, right? We can see Eric Bricard has this credit to work right now. It said aujourd'hui, so he works there at this moment. His experience is at Les Ateliers Marina. So just taking a little bit of a look there, right? There should be a website. And well, there is a website for that, showing the ACP PLV. That's the information that was actually on that original leak, which has a website, and we looked at it, so that is totally real. It feels like I'm kind of looking into Gus Fring's past with the Electromotive Madrigal. This looks like totally legit. They're doing packaging, they're doing decor, so probably for convention's sake and stuff like that. So you can actually look up the website for ACP PLV and Présentoir. So they're putting up like stands, like convention stands. So maybe they are preparing something for Nintendo, and maybe for Smash Bros. Ultimate in particular. We can also see a couple of other stuff on there, like the Grinch artwork for that new Who movie that's coming out. So this could definitely be for a wide convention, and not just for a Nintendo press convention. But if this is happening in France, then you bet your bottom dollar that this is happening in the US, this is happening in Europe all over. So this is not just a French leak. Probably these things are happening everywhere, but they've, been nice and signed an NDA thing, and they've not talked about this at all. But this might be real, because this is all back traceable. Now, the parent company of ACPLV is actually this thing that we talked about, which is the Marina. The Atelier Marina. So I looked up that website, and sure enough, when you look at the website and scroll down a little bit, this parent company is actually working with a lot of different companies, and one of those companies is, you guessed it, Bandai Namco. And it's not yet, I don't think it's revealed yet if Bandai Namco is also working on Ultimate, but that connection right there says all you can. I mean, first of all, it's a connection with the gaming world, which is number one. That should be huge. But it's also the company that co-developed Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, and might also do this new game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So having Bandai Namco in their portfolio means, oh yeah, that this leak, it's just adding up all that evidence. So I think that Nintendo, Sakurai and the Smash Bros. Team actually might have been putting a button right now saying, okay, we'll have to ship out characters a lot faster because people might have been on to us. So there's also some evidence on the contrary. There's actually a mod, and I think this is Smashboards, where Thinkaman, a moderator, has posted. Apparently, the LinkedIn page was only made a week ago. There's also claims on Reddit that this was a commission piece. So they're talking about the commission piece would have been the background for the Battlefield stage. So not the actual picture. He also says that sources have supposedly been found for the Chorus Kid image. So they've been actually finding pictures that look like the Chorus Kids on that artwork, so they can say, hey, that's stolen from online, or that's traced, or that is based on that artwork. And he says, yeah, I'm calling this one dead. Good show, but 5 newcomers, well, back to planet Earth, everyone. Maybe he's just protecting Smash Brothers here. Maybe he definitely believes that this is fake. But to me, I mean, I can just say this straight up. That Chorus Kid image that he talks about, no one knows what that is. No one has found this. This is just hearsay. This is just, he posted this, and we should just believe that. It has not been found at all. Definitely because I'm going to talk a little bit more about that specific image in a few minutes. He says, I'm saying that this one is dead. 5 newcomers, back to planet Earth, everyone. I think 5 newcomers with like 2 of them, and maybe 3 if Mach Rider is an Echo Fighter of Captain Falcon, which I don't hope so. He says back to planet Earth. I think that 5 newcomers makes sense. We actually had a discussion about this with Nintendo, with Willem, with Console Warriors. We talked about this, and we landed anywhere between 3 and 5. So we either think it's 3, 4 newcomers, or 5 newcomers. So having 5 there, that's Sakurai, right? That's pushing the envelope as far as possible, getting all that stuff in the cartridge as far as possible. So yeah, I think, man, I enjoy that you put down this comment. I don't think that there is that much indication that this is fake. I'm definitely not calling this one dead. This is the most alive leak that I've ever found. I mean, next to the Geno one, which has actually been debunked the last few days that we made a video about. But this one, oh wait, maybe when this video is up, someone has found traceable evidence of this all being fake. But right now, there's so much evidence that I can't say otherwise. Now, there's this big piece of evidence that I found that is just gigantic to proving that this leak is real. Of course, every single day someone posts a fake leak. So, a broken clock is of course right, but this guy has been cursing a lot, so I had to wipe a lot of information out. But just reading from this, someone has posted this a long time ago. It was, at the end of September, saying, these sources are literally pulled out of someone's behind. They guessed a few things right, but they're broken clocks. Lol, give Nintendo more credit. There's literally a team of people that curate the hype train. You think that they'd put Fire Emblem, literally Who's, and boring Pokemon in the final stretch? I feel bad for the disappointingly large number of people who have accepted their fate and think that someone like Steve from Minecraft and a Grand Blue character will make it too. The team has made the impossible happen, and you are losing hype because you're humoring these theories because someone saw a headline about Cygames and Nintendo working together. So proof, wow, this source guessed Isabel and Simon. Proof, Isaac is in the game. Well, he says, here's an actual leak, you guys. There are no new playable Pokemon. Boo-hoo, be happy with the 9 you have now. And he's right, because we do have Pokemon Trainer now, which is awesome. We, of course, have Mewtwo back since Wii U, and there's just so much variety in that roster. So not having Incineroar, not having someone like Decidueye is not that horrible. there is no Steve from Minecraft. So he first talks about two things that are not in there. There is no more Fire Emblem, no other Fire Emblem characters next to Chrom. There is no Grand Blue, and now he talks about the information that is real, and so far this is all right if we look at the roster. And he says Shadow and Ken are echoes. So now we know that Shadow is not an original fighter like we thought, but he's actually an echo fighter. Ken is an echo fighter like everyone has assumed, and he's saying Isaac is in. Chorus Kids are in. Gino is in. Mac Ryder is in. Banjo is in. So these are all the characters that are in that artwork, and this was posted a month before. So that's crazy insane that this leak corroborates with the one that we're talking about right now, like down to the detail. He has some insider information that I'm always kind of weary about. How could you know that characters are cut? He says Ray 1 was cut. That's the mech fighter, the small robot. Monster Hunter was cut. Well, we of course have Rathalos in the game, so it would have made sense. Dixie Kong was cut again. You know, Dixie Kong seems to be cut every time Sakurai makes a roster. And he says Taboo, Necrozma, which is a Pokemon, Crazy Hand, and Spirit Hand are bosses. Now, Spirit Hand, I mean, this league just becomes more real and real by the second. Who would think to have a character, you know, next to Taboo who returns from Smash Brothers Brawl, which is awesome because there is a story mode here, supposedly to called Spirits, having Necrozma, Crazy Hand, and then Spirit Hand. I mean, are those all the bosses? Or are those the bosses that he knows and mentions? So this guy's played the game or seen a lot of footage. But Spirit Hand, I could just see as, you know, a glowing kind of crazy hand that has these awesome moves that is even more powerful than Taboo. So Spirit Hand, or it could be a human hand, you know, that looks like the Master Hand when he pulls off his glove. So it could be the kid from Smash Brothers 64. That kind of stuff makes my brain explode. If you want more lore of Smash Brothers, stay tuned for Smash Brothers Origins, where we're going to discuss this. He says, wait and see, everyone. Leakers, Nintendo, and all of you. So this corroborates perfectly, and if we look at the Rathalos image that has been posted by Nintendo itself, this looks like a direct screenshot from something like a Golden Sun revival. This looks totally real, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the characters that are in that leak, specifically Mac Ryder, who you can see the helmet very clear, the outfit being the red boots, the red gloves, and the blue suit, which is very, very close to the original sprite. He's been found in this league. I think you can see the bike back there. He's definitely on the bike. You know, he's stepping off of it or has one foot on the ground, and the wheels are very close to him. It looks like a very futuristic, almost Blade Runner-y kind of bike. And in the next image, you can actually see an article that was posted saying Masahiro Sakurai's recent toy purchase is related to his current project. Rifle used as a visual reference, apparently. So that rifle that he has, the character that he's bought, you know, this is a mechanical kind of mech type character, but that rifle is the rifle that Mac Ryder is holding in the NES game. And it has been found that he's purchased this toy, and he also uses all of these different figures to play around with to create moves for the animators to use. So he actually uses them in the project document. And having that gun there to just use a lot of different moves. Maybe he punches with the gun, maybe he uses for a lot of different moves, and the bike too. So this also corroborates this leak as being completely real. Just look at this sprite. That bike is a really cool, awesome looking sci-fi bike, very close to that image, the tiny blurry part that we can see. And of course, he has the spikes on the shoulders. He has that white helmet with the red stripes on it. He has that gun from that Sakurai image. And he, of course, has the red boots, the red belt. So I don't think that this is an Echo Fighter like that previous leak has said. I think that Mac Ryder is a new character. Like Ness was real, Captain Falcon was like a new original. There are no Echo Fighters within those retro characters. So it would be really cool to see this. It looks really badass, like it looks really awesome. So the other character that I wanted to talk about is the chorus kids in this league, because there seems to be 4 characters, and those 4 are the 3 chorus kids from that minigame where you're singing, but also the conductor. So maybe, someone pointed out, the conductor is actually just like Pokemon Trainer when you choose one of the Pokemon that Pokemon Trainer uses, so Ivysaur, Squirtle, Charizard, and you have Pokemon Trainer in the background, either on a floating platform, either on a building, a mountaintop, cheering the characters on and switching. maybe you are essentially the conductor, conducting these characters, fighting, singing, using their melodies and using their rhythm to fight. And you have to have a character. Maybe you are the conductor yourself. You control the conductor in the back. This makes perfect sense. It's a cute character to have these 4 different people that are like these line art 2D. And I think that having a character like this would maybe even be competitively viable, because there's 3 different characters in the same vein as the Ice Climbers had these chain grabs. Maybe there's a lot of cool stuff that you can actually do with the conductor conducting the moves for the 3 chorus kids. And people have been wanting a Rhythm Heaven representation, Karate Joe or someone like that, but this one made the most sense throughout all the years. This character has been rumored to be in Brawl, character has been rumored to be in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. Having it be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate makes sense. It's a cool new addition. It's something that Sakurai, I think, really wants to explore, having all these new different move sets and kind of ways to fight, and having something that's rhythm oriented really fits with Sakurai, having all these new cool play styles in the game. So to me, definitely. Talk a little bit about Geno, because Geno, I think, is a shoe-in. We've talked about this before. He's on the top of my list. I think that having that Mii Fighter costume just made his fate in Smash Brothers, and it's the ultimate game. So Geno definitely has to be in this game this time. We look a little bit at Ken, and I've actually found a piece of artwork that he does the Shoryuken in this artwork. This is a no-brainer too. Ken was definitely on number 2 or number 3 on my list of newcomers. Having him as an echo for Ryu makes sense. Ryu was in the previous game, and now having a new Street Fighter rep be in Ultimate makes all the more sense. As far as Echo Fighters go, if you look at the roster, who makes the most sense, it won't be like Shadow Mario, it won't be Mr. L, it won't be someone like, a character that no one really wants, like Blood Falcon. We all want Shadow, the Black Shadow. But if you think about Echo Fighters that completely make sense, Ken is the top of that list. Along with Shadow, of course, but Ken is there. And I think this completely corroborates with the leak that we've seen before. Now, of course, we talked a little bit about Isaac. Isaac is here in the artwork, makes complete sense. He is a sword fighter, but he's not a Fire Emblem sword fighter. He uses these magic moves. His final smash could be these amazing cinematic moves that we've seen from Golden Sun, and maybe it's a revival for the series as well. Maybe we have a cool new model. It looks like the model that they use in that artwork is very close to his original appearance, so no new outfit stuff. So this could definitely be real, just based on the fact that it's time for Golden Sun to come back into the limelight. Shadow is here. I've looked at a pose that is kind of jumping, doesn't look at all like the pose that he does in that artwork. This one makes a lot of sense. Sonic has been in since Brawl, and now having another fighter. I mean, you could go for Tails, you could go for Robotnik or Dr. Eggman. Knuckles has replaced Shadow as the assist trophy, so Shadow is a shoe-in. I definitely think that this is the least development time you could put on a character. It's an Echo Fighter. You just change a few moves around. You make him slower. You make him, more powerful. Shadow is in, and he's in this league. It makes perfect sense to me. And the final one where I am most excited about any character is Banjo. I mean, I played Diddy Kong Racing, then I, played a lot as Banjo as well. Then when Banjo-Kazooie came out, that dominated my television set, because that game is just full of charm, full of collectibles, but also just the adventure that the bear and the bird go on is so cool. The different worlds that they visit, and just the music of these games is insane. Just having some remix of a Banjo-Kazooie theme, maybe get Grant Kirkhope to do some stuff for it. That's going to be insane. Having Banjo there in his original look, not having that, Madagascar kind of square look that he had for Nuts and Bolts, but actually the old school stuff. Xbox, Microsoft has been wanting Banjo in Smash for a long time. They said, yeah, of course we'll work together if Sakurai approaches us. This could have been that time. So I'm really excited to hear what you guys think of this leak. I don't really know if there's any way that this could be proven fake. I really want to see. So maybe at the time that this video has been released, there's more information on it. And of course, we'll keep you updated on that. So let me know in the comments down below, do you think that this leak is real? Your comment could actually be featured in our next video. I'll read it out loud. Today's comment question is this leak real? And we're going to give our stage to one of our Patreon supporters, Joey Margolian, saying, I'm surprised out of all the classic NES fighters outside Mac Ryder, this guy your Foreman Spike of the original Wrecking Crew didn't even appear as a newcomer yet. Good to see where this is going, and hopefully to see this little guy, which is Balloon Fighter, somewhere in the new installment of the 7th Smash Bros. Game, if we're lucky. Thank you, Joey Magolian, and thank you for all the Patreon supporters too. It looks like it won't be a Retro Fighter in Balloon Fighter. It looks like the Retro Fighter this time is Mac Rider, so I'm very excited to play as that kind of a character and see, how does a bike work in Smash Brothers, or how does that gun work, or how do they bring this character to life. So I'm really curious what you guys think of this entire leak. I want to read all the comments. I'm going to take the time to do that. And of course, there is a giveaway. You can win this awesome Super Smash Bros. Ultimate pin. It comes as a pre-order bonus in Europe, but we ship it out worldwide. So put down in the comments why you deserve it. And of course, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. I want to give a shout out to all our Patreon supporters. You guys have been insane, and you guys make me be able to make, daily videos. We've actually done daily videos the past couple of days, which is awesome. It really reinforces the fact that block content is growing ever more. We're passing 15,000 subscribers, and we're just going for the stars, you guys. So thank you so much. If you want to contribute to our Patreon, you can. The link is in the description, and you can be a part of the channel by just donating as little as $1, or you can donate a little bit more and actually be the person that decides what our next video is about. So if you're not yet a member of the Blocked Content family yet, hit that subscribe button down below in the red, and all that news and fun that you care about will be delivered daily to you. I hope we get to do some more Sure League homes. This was a lot of fun, so thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you around the corner where there's always more blocked content and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. See ya.